Welcome to Analytics with Nags. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to install SQL Server data tools. The SQL Server data tools main purpose is to create SSIS SSAS SSRS projects. And the main purpose why I created this video is like I have already made a playlist for SSIS and SSAS separately, and in those two playlists I have made a video to understand or help you to create data tools, but people face a lot of issues, and because of that they couldn't start this playlist or they cannot able to learn SSIS and SSAS. That becomes a very big showstopper for them. This main purpose of this video is to ensure they need to understand what is the issue happened, then they can properly install the SQL Server data tools, and then they can start learning from my playlist. With this note, let's begin our today's topic. If you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon for notification. Basically, data tools, as I said, it's used to create this project. Now what you need to have is like you need to have Visual Studio 2019, and in my previous playlist in SSIS and SSAS, as I mentioned, you can also install data tools using standalone installation only for 2017. Okay, basically you no need to install Visual Studio at all. You can install only standalone data tools. That is what I recommended. This might have worked, or because of this lot of people faced issues because they might have different SQL Server versions, okay, and they need to uninstall certain analysis service, reporting service, which they might have missed. That is why it has failed and they couldn't continue. One thing to highlight is like there is nothing wrong with standalone installment. It is still valid if you have a previous version of SQL Server. What I mean, basically you can see here I suggested to install the standalone installer, the standalone SSDT. Okay, why? Because you can see here if a Visual Studio isn't installed already, selecting installs SSDT with minimal version of Visual Studio. Now you are going to see how complex this Visual Studio 2019 and installing SSIS and SSAS is going to be. To avoid that, I suggested this. This is still valid if you have SQL Server till 2017. Now the problem happened to those people who installed SQL Server, that is database, 2019, and then they are trying to install SQL Server data tool 2017. That is why problem might happen. So another problem I can see is before installing SSDT Visual Studio, they need to uninstall the analysis service and reporting service projects. So this is the two reasons I suspect people might have faced the issue. Forget about all these things. Just follow what I'm trying to say in this video, so that you can end up in creating your data tools and you can start working on SSIS and SSAS. Let's begin. So in order to download correct versions of your data tools, SQL Server data tools download, you can search it in the Google. Okay, SQL Server data tools download, then it will pop up. You can see docs.microsoft.com. click on this. Then one thing to highlight is like do not go for latest version of Visual Studio, because as you can see the extension integration service not available. In 2022 Visual Studio you do not have an integration service, so just do not go for Visual Studio 2022. Now you need to go for Visual Studio 2019. Basically if you already have, some people already have Visual Studio, then you no need to install Visual Studio. Just follow this instruction. Launch Visual Studio installer, and then in the installer select the edition of Visual Studio that you want to add SSDT, then choose modify. Then select SQL Server Data Tools, Data Storage Processing, Workloads. Then you can add in the Visual Studio as an extension. Okay, this is what you need to do. So I do not have a Visual Studio 2019 and I will go for it. Okay, I will install the Visual Studio 2019, then I will follow all this instruction. Now let's do it. So click on, when you click on another problem here is like when you click on Visual Studio 2019 also, if you see here, if you don't have Visual Studio, then you can download, install Visual Studio 19. If you even click this, it will prompt you to download 2022. Don't do this mistake again. You do not have to download the 2022 here, all way to the down. Okay, you see older downloads. This is very important. As I am repeating, as of now 2019 is the version you need to go for. 2019, then download. This will ask you to create, or you need to log in using Microsoft account. Okay, ensure that you are logging in and giving your credential Microsoft account. So once you have logged in, you can see here you have something like benefit subscription get help. Forget about it. You need to click on this join the Dev Essential program. Once you click on that, you give some acceptance like whatever it says, then only you will get this downloads menu. If you see in the previous menu, you do not have a downloads menu, and then you will start getting this download menu. Once you click on downloads, you go towards down, okay, at the bottom of the screen, then you need to click on this Visual Studio 2019. Once you click on it, here you have one version, Visual Studio Template. Don't go for it. Visual Studio Community. See, basically you have Visual Studio Professional, Enterprise. I think these things require some payment. Community is for someone who is trying out and for the learners. So click on download. Ensure you are downloading the Visual Studio Community. Okay, I hope the download is happening. Once it's happened, click on open. So now you can see that is trying to download installer. After that, it will install the Visual Studio as well. That takes some time. It is not installing Visual Studio basically now. It is downloaded Visual Studio installer. That is, installer is one of the software that only it is downloaded. The Visual Studio installer will be installed now. Okay, so they made it very complex to understand. Like, you cannot just like that you can go for data tools now. So the Microsoft has made very complex. I think Microsoft should quickly release standalone installer for 2019 at least. That will make our life easier. Now the Visual Studio installer is installed now, and you can go and choose here, okay, the data storage and processing. Click on this option, okay, data storage and processing. You can uncheck this Azure Data Lake and Stream Analytics tool. That is not required for now. So you ensure that you choose SQL Server Data Tools. Install while downloading, download all, then install, whatever you want to prefer. I will go for install while downloading because it will start installing while it is downloading. So now we are installing Visual Studio Community 2019 along with the data tools. Let's wait for it to complete. Okay, we are almost done. So you can see here the download has been completed, but now it's in the finishing phase, I mean installing phase, and it is saying it may take a while, and let's try to wait for a few seconds. And it's saying cleanup. There you go. As we put start after installation, I think it will launch installer studio installer. As I said before, whatever we downloaded is the installer file that has installed our Visual Studio. If you have a login, you can do it. I'm going for not now, maybe later. Whatever themes you want. Now actually we are opening the Visual Studio or configuring the Visual Studio. I will go for default theme, start. So now we have Visual Studio opening. So this is no more required now. I will minimize it, minimize all the screens. I will just have the Visual Studio. There you go. So here the UI is different, and let's go for create new project. Now you are in impression like it has already installed, right? Data tools. You can start typing data tools, it will not appear. You start type SQL Server integration service, it will not appear. See, you have clicked in our previous window, you need to install the data tools, but SSIS everything will be added as an extension. What I'm trying to say. So first, whatever steps we did, assume like we have installed the Visual Studio. Now click on blank project, click on next, create some solution file. Now go to extension, manage extensions, and you can search over here SSIS. There you go. You can see SQL Server Integration Service. You need to download this first, and there will be a lot of other extensions or some other softwares provided by different vendors. Don't go for it. You can see this is SQL Server Integration Projects that is provided by Microsoft. You need to download. So this will take a while. While it is downloading, let me explain what we are trying to do. You can see from the diagram here, I mean whatever we did. Let me summarize. See, we need to install Visual Studio 2019. So once you moved over here, we clicked on installer and then downloaded the Visual Studio. You see, downloaded the Visual Studio, and we clicked on data storage and processing, and then we installed it. But it doesn't actually install SSIS, SSAS and SSRS. It installed only the data tools. Okay. Then for analysis service, integration service reporting, you can install appropriate extension. This is what we are doing. So now we went to this project and click on download. It is downloading now. Okay, in the downloads button. You can see from here it's downloading the data tools integration service. Similarly, I will go for SSAS. You can type analysis service. See, Microsoft Analysis Service Projects. Okay, you need to download it. You can see from here, this is downloading over here as part of what you call as part of 2019 itself. Okay, 2019 Visual Studio itself. This is downloading along with the your Visual Studio download button itself, whereas in SQL Server SSIS, when you click on it, it is downloading as another standalone installer. Okay, another installation setup. So there are a lot of conflicts. This is why people face a lot of issues. So just follow these instructions. Once it is downloaded, we will see how it works. Now you can see that analysis service is downloaded, and now your changes will be scheduled. The modification will begin when all Microsoft Visual Studio are closed. Basically, now it downloaded the analysis service. It will install using some other software. Let me check it to you. And this file, it is downloaded, but now we are trying to install the SSAS using this VSIX installer. Okay, the Visual Studio IX installer. I'm not sure about the extension names and all, but now we are trying to install the SSAS because it has downloaded from the Visual Studio and it is trying to install using this software. Once it is done, we will go to the installation of Microsoft Data Tools integration service. So let me close everything. Now you can see scheduling task for Visual Studio, and it's saying by clicking modify above license agreements, installation of any prerequisites. That's fine. We will just proceed with clicking on modify. Waiting for the following process to shut down. So it's asking me to close the Visual Studio. Let us close everything. See, only then it will install. So till now it has not been installed. So we need to close that one. Once it's closed, it will try to install it. Now once I closed, all the analysis service project is now only it is trying to install in that, you see, Visual Studio Community 2019. Okay, that is what it's trying to do now. Let's see. Now again it's installing or verifying. Let's see what happens. Now you can see that analysis service projects has been installed and added as part of the Visual Studio Community 2019. So this is first step is done. We have added the SQL Server Analysis Service Projects, and next step is to install the downloaded version, that is SQL Server Integration Service. Let's try to install it as well. So SQL Server Integration Service, when you click on OK, then it will ask you to add. If you have multiple Visual Studios, you can choose where you need to install this service. So you are installing it here. I'm pretty much not sure why there are different process for different projects. For integration service, we have a download file and we are installing it manually. If I try to find a reason for it, I will definitely post a video on that. And for analysis service, the Visual Studio itself downloaded, and using some installer, it is trying to install the software. So you can just press yes. Let's wait for some time. think it is loading. It's trying to install the software since it's already been downloaded 500 MB file. So now the SQL Server integration service also being installed. Let's try to launch Visual Studio and create both SSIS and SSAS projects. Now you can see Visual Studio 2019. You do not need to go for installer anymore. Just go for Visual Studio 2019. Once you launch it, then create new project with SQL Server integration service, SQL Server analysis service. There you go. Create a new project. So you remember earlier we do not get anything with analysis service and integration service. You can start type. You can see here analysis service started appearing, and even SQL Server integration service projects will started appear. Integration service import project wizard, integration service this is for SSIS, and this is for analysis service project. Analysis service, you can go for multidimensional or you can go for tabular project. So let's go and create one project for SSAS, that is tabular project. I will just keep the same name for time being, and as you know about this, you can choose OK. It creates a workspace server. Now it's trying to create a project. Maybe it's because of first time it takes some long time. There you go. So from this you can follow the playlist how to create SSAS in case you are watching it in SSIS, and in case of SSIS, let's try to create the new project, SQL Server integration service. Okay, you can see here this one. I mean, this is different. You can go for this. Okay, integration service project. So you need to start typing integration service project, this one. Okay, this is your project to create. You can give a proper name and you can change the path accordingly. So this will create you the SSIS packages. There you go. Now you got package, and you can follow the instructions further in the SSIS playlist. I hope you like this video. Hit the thumbs up button and comment below for queries. Do remember that data is your